Hey guys, my name is Riley. Welcome back to Need to Know Horses. Today we're talking about cleaning Western headstalls that have silver on them. So, take this tag off of it. We got this a while ago as just something to possibly have some of our horseless horse kids clean. It's pretty dry, it's pretty cracked. You can see that's silver on the front there, and there's another silver plate there that is quite a bit more silver than the front one. But what we're going to do is we're just going to first is take everything apart. If you don't know how things go back together yet, you can take a picture beforehand or record yourself taking it apart, and that'll help you to get stuff back together. So you can see this is kind of so dry that it's not really coming apart. Leather that's well taken care of is usually pretty soft and easy to pull apart. And when taking this apart, I'm going to make sure that I get the tie rings off as well, or the tie strings. So you can see there I have one of the cheek pieces off. I'm going to make sure that I pull the brow band off, which is what has the silver on it. And then also I'm going to detach the other cheek piece. I have had tack that is so stiff that I've had to use a screwdriver to get it apart before. So one thing to remember, especially when you have something like this silver, to be our main focus for today, is to make sure you're cleaning under the silver so you can see where the screws are in the back here. And you're going to get the screwdriver that matches. Most, I think, are usually flathead, but you can have a Phillips head as well. And then you're just going to unscrew the silver plates. I suppose I should do it so you guys can at least see what I'm doing, huh? Make sure you don't lose the backs of the screws for the plate. Again, another one off. Now some plates will just pop off. This one will not, so you can use a screwdriver. Gently put it underneath the plate and just twist it a little bit. There we go. So there you can see I got the plate off. Some plates it'll matter which way you put it back on, so like this one, how it has the V in it, you'll want to make sure that you put it back on that same way as well. You want to make sure to do this anytime you get a piece of new tack, in case whoever you got it from didn't clean it beforehand. If it's a brand new piece of tack, you don't have to worry about it too much. Or anytime before you go to a show, you'll want to make sure you repolish everything. You don't want to polish your silver while it's still on the leather, because you can dry the leather out. Again, since it doesn't just come out, I'm going to use the screwdriver. And if you have a big piece and it can turn like that, generally you can just pull out the last one. So then, for cleaning the leather part, either you can use a couple of different cleaners. Generally, if you go to your local tack store and ask them about what they would recommend for cleaning tack, everybody kind of recommends something different. So I have a couple of different cleaners. We're just going to use the one, but I do have one that's a spray, so you spray it on your sponge or cloth and then clean. I have one that's in a jar, that's just the soap, and both of those you would then use some type of oil afterwards, so we usually use neat's foot oil. If you're doing light colored tack, do not use neat's foot oil, it will darken your tack. And then this is a newer one that we just got recently, which is a one-step, so it is both a cleaner and a conditioner at the same time. You're supposed to use a damp sponge or cloth. I have seen that you can use it dry as well. And then, kind of just like with a saddle, you're just kind of going to rub it in. You're going to try to do circles. Sometimes if it's too thin, it's a little hard to do that, but it'll definitely help with keeping your tack clean and soft if you use even just small circles. You'll just go through the whole thing. The back side is really dirty, and this piece is really stiff. Generally, if it's super dirty, you might have to clean it a couple of times so you can see how dirty my sponge is there. So I usually, when I'm cleaning, I keep a bowl or a bucket of water nearby so that I can wash my sponge off without having to go to the sink every 10 minutes or sooner, depending on what it is I'm cleaning. Get more cleaner on my sponge. I'm going to make sure that I'm cleaning real well on the back where it's against the horse, and on the front right underneath where the metal goes. A lot of people forget to take their metal plaques off, which is when, if you have an issue with like mildew, it'll come back a lot faster if you don't clean underneath your plates, because it'll still be underneath those plates. And I always try to make sure I get within any holes. So there's that piece cleaned up. And then the same thing with the cheek pieces and the crown piece. I can spend too long showing all these pieces. All leather pieces are the same. So now you can see the difference here. There's actually a difference in these cheek pieces. So one had a tie in it holding it together, which I've taken out, and this one actually has a Chicago screw. So if you're restoring a piece of tack or you get something that's like that, you'll want to either get another Chicago screw to replace the one that's missing, and always check your Chicago screws when you're cleaning as well, because they do come loose, so sometimes you need a screwdriver to undo. Or you can replace the Chicago screw with a tie, but especially if you're showing, you'll want them to match. And if you have a bigger Chicago screw like this one, where the front has a little bit of silver on it, you can get it off here. You'll want to make sure that you use the silver polish on that as well. Cleaning is also a good way just to check over all your tack and make sure that it's all in good condition and still in working order and that nothing's loose. So like that Chicago screw, if this was something I was riding in and I didn't check it, that screw was loose. So if my bit was attached to there like it would be if I was using this, my bit could have just come off while I was riding. Being very careful to get underneath in here where the bit would go and where it ties together. There's that one cleaned, Now you'd also want to do silver polish on all of these, but I'll show you how to use the silver polish on the other pieces. So you do the crown piece and the other cheek piece the same way, as well as the tie, or if you're just going to replace the Chicago screw, this is something you'd either keep for something else or just throw it away if you're going to replace them further down the line. So then we're going to use the silver polish, which I'm going to have to pause for a second to go find because it seems I found the silver polish. So we use this Never Dull stuff, and we've only used it a couple of times, and it's this kind of stuff. And it's recommended that you use gloves with it because it can dry your hands out. It does have a very strong smell to it, so I do wear gloves if it's recommended. If I've used it a lot and I have touched it without gloves on, sometimes I won't use gloves, but something like this where it's meant to dry stuff out, I'm not gonna not wear gloves. So then with this stuff, you're just gonna get a little piece of it, and I'm gonna cap when I'm not using right away, and then you grab what you're silver polishing, and let me bring you guys closer here so you can see a little better what I'm doing. Put my glove bag on. And just rub on it. Again, circles are the best, but like this where it's a small piece of metal, probably not the easiest to do that. And we'll see how clean we can actually get this. And you'll be able to see, I don't know if you'll see it on here, but you can kind of see where it's starting to get like dark. That means it's taken the dirtiness off of there. You can see on the back here where it is a little more silver, so I know it's not supposed to be this dark. This is a piece that is seeming so dirty. I might just have to do this a couple of times, and I will have to go get a cloth to wipe this off like you're supposed to. So you're supposed to put this polish on and then use a cloth to wipe it off. I'm going to do the back as well, just because I'm trying to see exactly what color this is supposed to be. Like I said, this does have a strong strong smell to it, so if you have asthma or other lung conditions, be careful using it, especially if you're going to be using it for long periods of time. So I'm going to go grab a cloth to be able to wipe this off. Cloth here. I kind of left this sitting on top of this. Just gonna rub on it a little bit more here. So it doesn't actually look like it's gonna be silver. It kind of looks like it's more of like a copper color. We'll see what happens when I use the cloth on it. then I'm going to take the cloth and kind of just rub on it. Something that's as dirty as this piece is, you might have to spend a long time trying to get this piece clean. So you can kind of see it's starting to get a bit shinier, but there's still a lot on it that needs to be cleaned off yet. And it does look like a darker copper color, whereas I thought it was silver. So that makes a difference in how it's going to look as well. Softer cloths usually are better for stuff like this. I just grabbed what I could find. I'll try not to just keep putting more polish on here. I don't know if you'll be able to see the difference in the camera, but it does look quite a bit better than it was. This is something that I'll spend quite a bit more time on cleaning and polishing. We're going to go ahead and try to do the plate that actually is silver, so that you can maybe see a little bit more the difference that the silver polish makes. So that's this piece. Or if you just want it to look nice. If you're doing just a lot of like backyard riding where looks don't matter as much, you don't have to worry about your silver necessarily being super clean. So that's how you would clean your silver on your Western headstalls, and I'll show a little bit here on the guard keeper here, just to see, or so you can see without removing it from the leather. I'm gonna be kind of careful about trying not to get it on the leather, but if I do, that's why we like to clean, is so that our tack stays nice and soft and hydrated. See a little bit there. Haven't done too much on it yet. Like I said, something as dirty as this headstall will probably take quite some time to get these pieces cleaned up again. This is clearly something that somebody used it for a while, or it sat for a long time without ever being cleaned. And they maybe cleaned the leather, but this silver definitely hasn't been polished in a long time. So if this is something that I would think about showing in someday, I would spend a lot of time trying to get any of these metal pieces a lot cleaner than they are. Now I am also missing a silver piece to this headstall, so this isn't one that I would show in without especially replacing that. But it also doesn't fit either of the horses that I would use it on. So there we go. You can see it's a bit cleaner there now. And that's how you do that, just on the leather. And again, like I said, I'm usually careful about getting it on the leather, but you can always clean the leather afterwards to rehydrate it and make sure that it's not going to get too dry. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, you can post those in the comments below and I will get around to answering them. If you have any questions about other things that aren't tack cleaning or silver polishing, or different types of tack to clean, you can put those in the comments as well, and I will definitely get around to either making a video on them or just answering questions in the comments. Like I said, if you have any questions, put those in the comments, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!